Good evening everyone, this is AJ, the Movie Owl, back again. This is for part 5 of my Punisher, a walkthrough of my collection. Now obviously there's a parts 1, 2, 3 and 4. Just quickly to recap, part 1 was the original Punisher run, part 2 covered the first War Journal Warzone series, part 3 covered the Demon stuff, 2099 and a couple of other bits. Part 4 started the Marvel Knights Garth Ennis era and culminated in the ending of the Marvel Knights run of the Punisher. So, as I said, Marvel Knights Punisher, it wasn't cancelled due to low ratings, or low sales, sorry, ratings. It wasn't cancelled due to low ratings. Marvel had another idea. Basically, with Marvel Knights Punisher, Garth Ennis was very much reined in with his writing and not allowed to get away with the type of things that he normally would within a comic book. So, Marvel had started an imprint called Max. It began with a black and white series called US War Machine, based around Rhodey and War Machine. It was a weekly series. It was very good. They got onto the Punisher. They decided, let's do a Punisher series under the Marvel Knights banner, Marvel Max banner. Garth Ennis, here you go. Do what you want. So Garth Ennis took the Punisher, took him out of the 616 universe, which is the primary Marvel universe, and gave him his own run, which was self-contained in its own world. And it could be as dark and gritty, sweary, as violent as you could imagine. Yeah, so anyway, starting off, let's have a look at issue 1. Now, the first issue 1 I'm going to show you is actually a CGC graded 9.6 signature series signed by the actor Thomas Jane. As you know, he portrayed the Punisher in the 2004 The Punisher film, and then he came back in a short film called Dirty Laundry, an unofficial Punisher movie, well, short film. You can see it on YouTube. Yeah, so that's a 9.6 graded CGC Punisher issue 1, signed by Thomas Jane. Steve Dillon didn't come back to do the art in these. His art style wouldn't really have been suited. So at this point you had Luis LaRosa, Tom Palmer, yeah, working with Garth Ennis to bring you this comic. So that was issue 1. Again, there's a standard issue 1, bagged and boarded. Let me have a quick look and I'll show you, I'll open it up, I'll show you the kind of art style we were looking at. As you can see, it's a lot darker, a lot grittier than what the sort of stuff we would have had before. Yeah, it suited the writing and the darkness that the comic book gave us at this time. Very good jumping on point if you're interested in adult orientated comics. But yeah, so anyway, there you go. So there was issue 1. Sorry, my hay fever's playing up again, so if I'm sniffing, please forgive me. Issue 2, issue 3. Again, as you can see, before, all covers are drawn by Tim Bradstreet, who drew the Punisher covers for the prior series, the Marvel Knights releases. So again, you have some. That was issue 5. It's issue 6. You have some stunning covers within this series. Issue 7, issue 8, issue 9, issue 10. You know, at some they almost look almost photographic at times. You got to remember, it was Garth Ennis that did influence the Thomas Jane movie. A lot of the stuff in that film with the Russian and a lot of characters. The whole scene with the Russian fight scene are straight out of the comics from the film, from the Marvel Knights run, the original 12 issue. So that's issue 12. Issue 13. I mean, that almost looks like Thomas Jane, to be honest with you. I wonder. 14. Issue 15. I mean, look, you can't fault these covers, can you? 16. And 17. 18. 19. And 20. I mean, Frank Castle, the character of Frank Castle, great. I mean, I know he's obviously a tad one-dimensional. You can't do much with him. It's about him chasing people down and killing them and whatnot. But he's a brilliantly created character. He stood the test of time. 22. 23. 24. 25. Obviously, some characters are lucky enough to have a defining run of comics. Batman's got Dark Knight Returns, Death in the Family. You know, there's various Batman titles that... Apologise. I am going to sneeze. Oh dear. Forgive me for that. Edit that out. No, I won't. It's only natural. 27. So what was I saying? Yeah, defining runs. Other than Circle of Blood, the Punisher's initial run, I believe his defining run was the Garth Ennis stuff at the start of the Marvel Knights, and then Garth Ennis' stuff here in the Marvel Max run. So that was 29. This is 30. I'm aware I'm talking and not keeping up with the numbers. 31, hopefully you're counting. 32. That's a character called Barracuda. Well, that's part one of the story. He became quite a popular villain who would show his face several times in the series, and he got his own Marvel Max Punisher mini-series. It's under the Punisher name. Punisher wasn't in it, but it's that character. 34. 35. 36. 37. 38. 39. Sorry, I was just having a look there. And 40. Still with the fantastic looking covers. 41. 42. 43. 44. And issue 45. Sorry, just bear with me 1 second. Admire the Tim Bradstreet art behind me. And I'm back. My apologies. I could edit that out, but I can't be bothered. There you go. 46. 47. 48. 49. Sorry, I was just looking at that. I couldn't work out what that is. Look like head looks like an apple. I don't know. 48. 49. I can't remember this storyline. I don't think that would be Lynn Michaels, as we've discussed in previous. But I can't remember. And issue 50, milestone issue. 51. Barracuda yet again. Is it? I don't know. 51, 52. I don't remember the stories of a lot of these, but 53. I should really read them again. 54. Obviously, the artists within do change. I can show you a comparison of the art. I showed you the ones earlier. Let's see how we've changed up to about issue 56. The sort of art you're looking at in these are very much is that sort of a style of art. Goran Parlov. I don't know any other works that he may have done. Yeah, so it's all suited to the style of storytelling within. 57, 58, and 59. 60. Okay, at this point we do have a change of writer. You now have a fella called Hurwitz with art by Campbell. You see a distinct change in the style of the covers as well. So issues 1 to 60 were written by Garth Ennis. And now you head into this. Okay, it's a completely different style of art for the covers. And shall we have a look at the art inside and see how it affected the interiors? Let's have a quick gander. Okay, so alright, so the art inside is still very much in a sort of a grittier sort of style. So, you know, can't really complain at that point. So that was issue 60 to 65. Yes, and then to issue 66, a change of writer again, an artist, Swirskinski, and Lacombe. Now, what Marvel tend to do nowadays is they will write stories in a 5 or 6 issue kind of length, which is primarily for their graphic novel program, because you get a lot of sales for graphic novels. Also, just to note that issue 66 did see a title change. So issue 65, if we go back, sorry, was titled The Punisher. Issue 66 became Frank Castle, The Punisher. That's issue 66. That's issue 67. It was still a very good series. 68. 69. And issue 70. We have issue 71. 72. 73. 74. And issue 75, which contained 5 stories by different writers. This was actually the last issue of Frank Castle, The Punisher. So that ran for 75 issues. Likely, I'm guessing here, but I'd say that given that Garth Ennis left at issue 60, the sales would have started dwindling a tad more. To get up to 75 a cancellation, but pretty much straight away after, Marvel came back again with a series called Punisher Max from the Max line. Now, interestingly, you do have Steve Dillon back as an artist, but not Garth Ennis as the writer. So let me open that one up and show you. So yeah, you have classic sort of, you know, Steve Dillon type of art. Yeah, so still as gory as ever. Yeah, brutal. So yeah, obviously, I mean, look. Yeah, it was gory, but yeah, so in all likelihood, again, I'll guess that they got Steve Dillon back to try and tempt fans back from the original run. So anyway, so yes, that was issue 1 of Punisher Max. That was issue 2. No, sorry, that's a variant cover for issue 1. So both of those were issue 1s. That is issue 2. Issue 3 with Kingpin. Issue 4, Kingpin storyline still. Issue 5, Kingpin storyline. And then issue 6 saw the inclusion of Bullseye, the Daredevil villain. Issue 7. Now, you did notice that you didn't really have any guest stars in the first run. I believe Nick Fury was in it at one point, only because he was a fit for that world, and Nick Fury did have his own Marvel Max series. But here, you know, with the inclusion of Bullseye, you're seeing another Marvel character come in to the series. This here is issue 10 and issue 11. Issue 12. This did not run nearly as, you know, as far as issue 75 issues, nowhere near. Issue 14, still with Steve Dillon art, his name's still at the top of these. Issue 15, same writer, Aaron. Let me have a look, see. Sorry, I don't know his first name, so I'm having a look to see who the actual writer is. Aaron, what? Jason Aaron. The name rings a bell. I'm not sure what else he's written, but the name does ring a bell. So yeah, so at this point, from issue 1 up to this being 16, Jason Aaron has written the entire run. So yeah, so issue 17, issue 18, interestingly, with Elektra guest starring, even though it was set outside of the 616 universe. Issue 19, issue 20, still with this Jason Aaron writing, 21, culminating in issue 22. Not to spoil it for you, so skip ahead a couple of minutes. That this series does end with, if I can find it, this run does end with Frank Castle in the ground. His war's over. It gave the character a conclusion. This would be with Nick Fury in it. Nick Fury were in these, yeah. Yeah, so Frank Castle, he actually died in the issue before. yeah, so that was the concluding point of this series. Being that it was set outside of the primary universe, killing him off was, you know, it was a nice conclusion to the character here, and in the entire Max run. So you have got a beginning, middle and end kind of thing. Although it didn't end there as such, like I said, there were, like I said, Barracuda, he got his own series for 6 issues, Punisher Barracuda, that's issue 1. That's issue 2. Issue 3, issue 4, and issue 5, 5-issue miniseries. Yeah, so, but also during the run of Marvel Max, you did have a lot of one-off stories that came out, that were released. So I'll just show you. That's the Punisher Max Annual. One-off Punisher the Tiger. Marvel Max. Punisher the Cell. Punisher Force of Nature. The Punisher Little Black Book. Like I said, these are all under the banner of Marvel Max, so they're all still, again, adult orientated. Punisher Naked Kill. Just bear with me, sorry. Then we have Punisher Max Get Castle. Punisher Max Butterfly. Punisher Max Happy Ending. Yep, I know what happy ending is. Punisher Max Hot Rods of Death. Sorry, I was trying to read that font. Punisher Max Tiny Ugly World. Also, we had a 5-issue miniseries entitled Punisher Max, The Untold Tales of Punisher Max. That's issue 1. That's issue 2. Issue 3. Issue 4. And issue 5. Now I've got one more issue to show. Garth Ennis came back to write this. Punisher Max The End. Now, not to be confused with what happened here, because this is the concluding part of the entire Max run for the Punisher, but Marvel decided to do a run of comics called The End, which gave you the final stories of several characters. Marvel's done this several times, and with the Punisher. I mean, you've had, you know, the Marvel Zombie stuff. You had Punisher Kills the Marvel Universe. One-off story where he just wipes out, he ends up killing everyone and in the end kills himself. You know, they're all set within their own little bubble world. And that's the case in point with this. So this catches up with Frank Castle when he is extremely old man, the world's in tatters, whatever. Yeah, I can't really remember the story. It's one of them sort of throwaway stories, so to speak. But yeah, so do you remember reading this stuff? Because that concludes my look at the Punisher Max. This is still part of the Garth Ennis era, I would say. the Max line, because he was the one that gave birth to it. He was the one that initially built the world within. Jason Aaron obviously concluded it. He done a good job with that. It's a really good run of comics. I'd highly recommend them as a read. I'd highly recommend them as a jumping on point for anyone interested in reading the Punisher. Obviously they are available in graphic novel form. I'm pretty sure sourcing the back issues is relatively cheap as well. So tell me your thoughts on you know, the Punisher at this stage in his tenure as a character within Marvel. For me, a very good era of comics. So what come next? In the next part of this series of videos looking at the Punisher comics, the Punisher is returned into the Marvel 616 universe in quite a big way. But we're also encroaching into an era of Marvel Comics where Marvel changed their sales plans quite drastically, affecting a lot of titles. I won't get into this all now. It was all very frustrating. It is very frustrating. You saw the MCU come about as well with the TV stuff. The MCU is great. I love the MCU. The MCU has, although it has had a negative impact, I will say that as a comic collector. I won't get into that now. I'll talk about that in the next part, or in the next couple of parts. I'll cover that. So anyway, yeah. So thank you for watching. I hope you would consider subscribing to the channel. There'll be a lot more content. I will look at the Punisher films. I've got various Punisher collectibles that I will take a closer look at. Yeah, so if you like the video, give me a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, leave me a comment. We can have a discussion about the Punisher. If you enjoy the character, if you don't, yeah, let me know your thoughts. And I wish you a good night, whatever you're up to. Enjoy it, and I'll see you here back for the next part of my walkthrough of the Punisher comic book collections. Take care of yourselves. Good night, everybody. Do you know what?